Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of our Caravan build series. In this episode, we tackle the plumbing in Sunny, so we plumb up our water tanks and hot and cold water to the outlets in our van. We'll also give you a bit of a tour of our shower setup, so stick around and we hope you enjoy it. So just mounting these shower fittings. We got these off eBay. I think the brand's Decora. I think it's the same brand as our
That's correct.
kitchen sink tap. There we go. It's the same brand as that. So we got this off eBay. It was only like 120 bucks. It came with the shower head, the fitting there, and the mixer. So what I've done, I went to Reese Plumbing and bought some 20mm ore thread, and I also bought, let me just put this down, so drilled the hole, that'll go through there, and then I bought this nut as well, so it'll sit on the back of that under the bed here, and then I'll be able to just put the John Guest fitting directly onto the back of that and then run the John Guest piping out from there. Same as these, so I'll screw the John Guest fittings into the mixer and then run all the John Guest hoses out of that as well. Unfortunately, I thought I had a hole saw the right size for this, so I'm gonna have to do this another day. I think that's a 42mm. Well, that size there is 42mm, but the smallest hole saw I've got is 67, and then the next one is, I've only got my Forstner bits and spade bits, and they only go up to 32, I think. So 38. So gonna have to wait, get a hole saw the right size, but I'll probably try and mount all this up and see what else I can get done. Also, went to Reese Plumbing as well. Struggled to find a drain anywhere. Went to the Caravan shop, but the drains they had there are for like a thinner shower base. So this one's from Reese Plumbing. It's just a regular waste drain, comes with a plug. And then it goes from, I think it's 40mm from memory, I can't quite remember now, with an elbow. I've got to glue this joint here, and then it goes down to 25, which we'll use for our waste hose. So when we built this shower, we chocked the floor up a little bit so that when we tighten that down, it'll create a low point, so that way the water should naturally drain down into the drain. But so you can screw this nut up from underneath the floor and really tighten it up and squeeze that, pull that floor down, and that should create the low point. So I've got a 48, I think it is 48mm Forstner bit. So I've drilled up through the floor from under the van exactly where this waste or this drain needs to go. So I'm going to drill through the top now, just so I don't chip out the top of this. And we'll put the drain in. That's it there.
Yep.
I'm sure there was plenty other ways to go about doing the drain in the shower, but obviously we're not plumbers, so with the knowledge and resources we had, this was the best that we could come up with, and so far we haven't had any issues. So the drain is in, just waiting for that silicone to dry. Hopefully I've created enough fall in this shower base that it pulls up and goes down there. Worst comes to worst, we'll just have to keep a little squeegee in here and squeegee the last little bits down the drain. Just waiting for the glue underneath to dry, but we're getting one step closer to having the shower done. So I bought these barbed fittings for the inlet of the water tank, so where it goes from the water filler down to the water tank. They're a 3/4 inch BSP to 25mm barb, so we're using that 25mm hose for all like the water inlet and the waste hose. So I'm just going to put some thread tape on them and put them into the water tanks. So we've just hooked up this waste hose for the sink. So we made up this. We got this adapter made up at Reese, and I've just glued the join there and put plumber's tape on everything. So we're just going through the through the shelf here and under here. I'm actually using these half saddles that are used for the electrical Coro, and we're just using that to hold that hose. I don't know if you can see under there. Watch out, Louie. Hold that hose up against the side there, and that'll run under the floor, and then I'll tee it into the shower drain as well. So what I'm doing here is coming from the sink drain. It's running down here, and then I've got this 25mm barbed T-piece. So that's the shower drain there. So it'll flow into this, and then it'll have a waste hose running out, and I'll have the can lock grey water fittings on that. So we're just hooking all this up now. All of the John Guest tubing and fittings that you see us using in this video we bought from Road Tech Marine, with the odd couple fittings we bought from our local Caravan repair shop. It's really important when you're cutting this John Guest piping that you use a pair of plastic pipe cutters, otherwise you risk squashing the pipe and it may not seal properly. So basically what I'm doing here is coming out of each water tank, I've got a tap, so that way I can isolate each tank individually, and that runs into a T-piece, which then one line runs up to the pump. So the water pump we chose to use in Sunny is the Seaflo 11.3 litres per minute 4-chamber diaphragm pump. It's pressure activated and super duper quiet. So what we got done today was coming from the tanks, it comes up through the floor, through this filter, and then into the water pump, out of the water pump, through the sender for the Topper G, the water tank meter. So it counts backwards. So if your tank's 70 litres, set it to 70, and then as you use the water, it'll count down to let you know how many litres you have left. So it does say in the book that it needs to be 200 mil from any elbows and things, but with the space I've got, that's the best I can get it. It said like if possible, so it should be right. So going through the pump, and then it goes through a check valve here. So when we have mains in, it'll stop the mains pressure running back into the pump. And then this T comes back down, back through the floor, and that's where the mains will come in. And also I'll have a T which will run a tap to the drawbar. This here will then go off to the slide out kitchen and to the shower, which we haven't done yet. And then coming up there, I've got a wire join, and then one of those lines goes up, which is the cold line for the sink, and the other one goes up to our little quarter turn stop tap, which will be for our ionizer that'll sit up on the bench here. So that's all we got done with the plumbing today. We got all the waste hoses sorted out as well, so that runs under the floor, and then for the shower as well. So we got a bit done today. I'm a bit annoyed because I just did a whole time lapse of doing all this under the van on the GoPro, and now this is probably the third time that the time lapses for some reason aren't working. So pain in the ass. Filmed all that and I don't think it's saved, so I'll just run you through what I did. So I originally bought one of these at our local Caravan repair shop, these back-plated sort of angled rough brass taps from the Caravan repair shop, and they charged me $40, and then I went to Bunnings and they had it there for 17, so I'm gonna go return it. And I bought one from Bunnings. So I bought the one with the 15mm thread on the bottom instead of 20. That way, I've gone John Guest push-in fitting there with an elbow, and then that runs under the drawbar. It'll get mounted sort of up out of the way like that. I've actually utilised the original gas line little mounting saddles. The only thing I couldn't get today was a T fitting, so I'm going to have a T here, and that's going to tee off under here for the cold supply for the kick-ass instant hot water, and then I'll need the hot there as well with the Ryco quick connect fittings. So I've ran under the van. I'll just see if I can zoom in. So coming out of the floor, actually no, I'll move up so you can see it a bit better. Okay, so this line here comes from the water tanks. So that goes up into the water pump, and once it goes up through the taps and stuff, it comes back out through the floor, 90-degree elbow. Then I've gone into this wire connector. So that'll run into there and down to the drawbar tap and the cold supply for the instant hot water. And then out of that wire that runs back this way through a non-return valve, a check valve, and then that'll run behind these water tanks across the van to that that side over there, and it'll have the pressure reducing valve and the mains in. So that way it'll run in here, and there's a check valve up past the water pump, so that way no mains pressure can run back into the water pump, and then no pump water can run back out that 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 pressure limiting valve, if that makes sense. Righto, so I've been doing a little bit more plumbing. I finished off the cold running to the shower mixer. So basically what happens is you got cold water coming in, and then hot water coming in, and then the hot or mixed water coming out, and that goes into this 90-degree elbow and then into the shower head. So cold and hot coming in go through here around the back of Louie and Darla's bed, and then we go through here behind the drawers, and then we come into the cabinet under the sink. I'll just move this out of the way. So then we've got hot and cold coming down. So then so if we go from the cold, I've got a wire there. So yeah, we've got cold from the sink tap, and then we've also got cold for the little quarter turn stop tap for our K8. So then yeah, we run through a check valve into the pump, and then from the pump down under the water tanks, into the water tank, sorry, and then this one here is our mains in. So that way that check valve, it'll stop mains pressure going back into the pump, and then that'll also power everything with mains pressure, and that runs down to the drawbar tap and to the drawbar tap, and then the mains in comes in through this one here. So I run out of elbows. I'm about 8 elbows short to finish the whole thing, so I'll have to wait and get some more elbows and finish it off, and I'll touch base then. So just behind the shower here, I ended up getting some more elbows, and yeah, ran it through the frame of the bed rather than having it loop out the way it did before, and yeah, added all those retainer clips to the hot water lines. The only other thing I haven't made is just a brace to go behind this mixer. I was going to make a brace to go from here to there just to screw it to, just to stop it moving, but otherwise that there's all done. Don't pay too much attention to my bodgy waste outlet bracket. I had to rig something up as we had to tow the van leaving our rental, and we towed it to Ellie's mum and dad, so yeah, just had to rig something up temporarily to get us out of trouble. So for the hot water in our van, we're actually using this kick-ass instant hot water unit, and that's going to hang on the side of the van. And I bought these little D-loops, which I've taken the screw out of the window and added them in, so it's going to hang just there, and that way I'll have the hot and the cold water coming into the unit. The cold water coming into the unit, hot water coming out of the unit, with quick connect fittings underneath the van just there, so you can hang it up, plug it in nice and quick. Also, to store the hot water unit in the toolbox here, I bought this Wanderer clear top canvas bag from BCF. I think it's 500ml by 400ml, and it fits the kick-ass shower perfectly. I'll show you now. So rigging up this bracketry for the Ryco fittings, I actually buggered up, which you'll see in a minute. However, I decided to leave this bit in this video because depending on how you plan on installing your plumbing, I thought it might come in handy for your application. Righto, so I've just finished making up these two quick release fitting brackets. So that'll get screwed up to under the van. So I've got the Ryco quick connect fitting here, and then I've got a 15 to 6mm brass hex reducing nipple, which goes through this aluminium, clamps up, and then you got your John Guest, 1/2-inch John Guest fitting from there. So that way I can run the cold and the hot, and same for this side. So one will go just under here for the slide out kitchen, up under there somewhere, and then I can do the same for the hot water unit at the front of the van. So I had a change in plans. I did make up that 30 by 30 angle bracket, but I just didn't really think about, it was gonna have to go up against the floor, and it wouldn't have cleared the side of the van, and then mounting it on the chassis rail back here would have been too far away, so I ended up bending up my own brackets out of some aluminium I had left over. So that just clears the side of the van, gives you enough room to plug it in. And then, so you got your Ryco fitting, you've got the 6 to 15 mil brass X reducing bush, and then your 1/2 inch John Guest fitting. So then I've teed in to this water line that runs down to the drawbar tap, and then teed off from there. So that'll be the cold water supply to the kick-ass shower, and then this will be the hot water out. So it runs in, up through the floor, and then to the kitchen tap, and then it'll runs behind the drawers to the shower, and then I've still got to just do another tee to come under the floor to the outdoor kitchen, which I've got another bracket there. So we do that now. Righto, so under the bed, this is where the hot and cold runs in through the back to go down to the shower. So I've added a tee and gone through the floor, and then come out there, and that snakes around and goes into these quick release fittings here for the outdoor kitchen. But yes, I'm just going to add those same quick connect fittings on the side of the slide out kitchen, and then I'll make up some hoses so I can just easily plug the kitchen in and have hot and cold water at the tap there. So this is what it looks like finished off. So it is a little bit dirty because we've just finished our lap of Oz, but I added a hot and cold label on there just so I know which line's which, and I also put some split tubing around the water lines under the back here, just to protect it from anything that flies up from the tyres. And then where they've gone through all the saddles there, I've also added a bit of split tubing so they don't rub, and I've gone around and sealed up where all the water lines and things come through the floor. And yeah, that's it there. I'll demo in a minute how the hot water unit works and how I've plumbed it all up and everything. But yeah, that's it there. So all working well. Louis. And this is under the front, so for the hot water unit. So we've got same thing again, hot and cold. And I've just put a bit of WD-40. One thing to note with these Ryco fittings, I couldn't find the dust covers for them anywhere. I even called a couple of Ryco dealers, and they didn't have any in stock. So it's one thing, if you do get these fittings, try and see if you can get a dust cover for them, because without them, the little ball bearings in there just get dirt and crap in them, and they do sort of get a bit dry. But I just put a little bit of WD-40 around there, and it loosens them up a bit, but it's not ideal. So if you can find a dust cover for them, or even maybe the Nitto fittings, they're a similar sort of fitting, but they look like they wouldn't sort of rust up as much. But yeah, I think it just needs a dust cover. But same thing again, put the split tubing over there, and wherever it's gone through all the saddles, I've added a bit of split tubing as well. And I've also gone ahead and put retainers on most of the fittings. It's not necessary, they do seal pretty well, but I've tried to add them more so on the hot water lines. It's, yeah, that's all finished off. So I'll plug the hot water unit in now and show you how that all works. So just filling up these water tanks, one thing to note, these just have a breather on top of the tank there. It's only like a little hole that's drilled in the top. I did buy some barbs I was going to try and press into there and hook up to the little, there's a breather inside this water filler, but we just didn't get time to do it before our lap, so we may do with what we had. But just keep in mind, if you do park on an angle when the tanks are full, it will drip out of that breather, so you do lose, not much, you'd probably lose like a litre or so of water, a couple of litres, but yeah, if in future, I think I will hook up the barb there and run a breather hose to the inside of that filler. Also, the idea with these is with the taps here, I can turn, say, the front tank off and just drain the rear tank, or vice versa, or have them both open and they'll drain equally. Also thought it's handy if for some reason one got smashed off, we can isolate the other tank so we don't lose all our water. But thankfully that never happened. These shields we made for the front sort of protected everything. Nothing got smashed off or broken underneath, so yeah, happy days. So I've fixed up the waste hose when I first did it, there was a bit of a dip in here, and when we plugged into at a powered side at a caravan park and we ran the Soolage hose with it, it was actually, I think it was getting an airlock and it was backing up and it filled the shower up with about 2 inches of water. So I fixed that. It's got a nice downhill run all the way to the end here, and I've just drilled a little hole in the waste hose here, just as a bit of a breather, and no water comes out of there. And I've just used these cam lock fittings from Bunnings, the Azito. So basically just unplugs like that, nice and easy, and that runs all the way back down into the drain. Righto, so to set up our hot water unit, we went to Bunnings and bought some of these like snap hooks, or carabiners I think they're called. Put them on the shower, and then those little D-hooks we put on the window, they just sit in there like that. And on the back of the shower, I just added like a weather seal to stop it marking the van, and that just rests there nicely like that. So that's step one. Next step is to hook up our gas line. So got our gas bottle down there. Now on our lap, I wanted this to be toolless, so we went to a gas place. We wanted a quick connect fitting, and this was the best they could come up with. Seems like lots of connections, but it still works all right. So just take the dust seal out of there, screw your fitting onto the gas bottle, remove the dust plug from the shower unit, and then that just clips up to there like that. So that's the gas sorted. So now to hook up the hot and cold water, made up these lines. So they got the tail end for the Ryco fitting on one end, and then just went to Bunnings and bought the Pope. I think they're a 12mm fitting. They're the smaller hose fitting, so they go into the shower unit. So you want to hook up the hot first, because if your pump's on and you hook the cold up first, it'll just pump water straight through there, because when you plug it in, it's obviously going to activate the pump. So plug the hot in first, snap it into the Ryco fitting, and then now that that's in, we can plug our cold line in. So don't know if you'll be able to hear this on camera, but when I plug that cold in, it's going to jump the pump into action, so because it's pressure activated. So we'll plug this in, and you can hear that shower unit's on. So just turn our gas on now, and now we've got hot water plumbed into the van. So quick and easy, super easy to set up, and yeah, it works really good. So we'll show you that now. So the hot water unit's got 3 settings. So the first one is your flame temp, or your water temp. So obviously, yeah, your min and max. The one over this side is your water flow. So the first time we used it, it wouldn't work. We were wondering what was going on, but you have to have it set pretty low flow, because when it's up too high, it just doesn't work for some reason. So we have that set really low. It doesn't really affect the pressure though. The pressure's still fine. And then your summer winter, what that is, in the winter, because you generally want a hotter shower, it ignites all the burners, so you get hotter temp. And then in the summer, because your water source is usually warmer, if you have it on the winter setting where it ignites all the burners, it seems to cut out because the temp goes too high. So on the summer, it only ignites half the burners, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's all your dials. Pretty easy to use. So now we'll show you how we hook up the hot and cold to our outdoor kitchen. So I ended up making up a plate instead of mounting these Ryco fittings directly into the ply. I can nip it up a bit tighter going straight into the aluminium. So hook that up underneath here. If you look into there, so coming out of the mixer, there's your hot and cold. Just move these out of the way. And then from the hot and cold, we've added those, went to the John Guest fittings, and then run the John Guest fittings into the back of those Ryco fittings. So our sink came with this little drain. It's pretty flimsy, but does the job. So we hook that up first. Out of the way. And we usually just drain that into a bucket, and then we can tip it wherever. So I made up these water lines like the shower, except these just have the tail on either end, so they hook into the Ryco fittings up here, and then we've got the other Ryco fittings under the van, which is our supply. So same thing again, you want to hook the hot up first. So hook the hot up to the kitchen first there, and then into here. So sometimes if the pump is on, it can, you know, you're fighting the pressure a little bit. And then we hook our cold up. So now you can run it just like that. If you don't plan on using cold water, you can just have the hot water hooked up if you only want to use hot, but we like to use cold as well. So now we'll hook the cold up. So sometimes it can spray. Yeah, I think because ours have been through the ringer and the ball bearings don't work as well as they did. As you can see, sometimes you can get a spray if they don't go in the first time. But anyways, that's all hooked up. So if we come to our mixer, we've got our cold, and then we've also got our hot. So if I get Elle to stand over near the hot water unit, if I turn it to the hot, or if I go from cold to hot, you'll hear the hot water unit kick in. So I've got cold on at the moment. If I turn it to hot, you'll hear the hot water unit jump into action. So if I turn the hot tap on, you'll see that water's running at the moment 47, 48 degrees. So you just have to play around with the dials and get it to where you want it. So anything over, I think 51, it'll cut out as like a safety thing. So we'll show you now how we set up our shower inside the van. So first things first, remove the cushions from the daybed. Next is to lift up the lid and we'll latch it. We've got a little latch on the side there. So the next step is to pull up our shower curtain that we got custom made.
So we got this custom made by Joe from Bags and Swags.
So we drew up the dimensions of what we wanted and how we wanted it, sent her the dimensions, and yeah, she made it for us. So it was super easy and she was really good. It came out awesome.
So the way that we've done this is popped these little clips. Is that what you call them?
Just the same ones we use for the hot water unit, but just obviously smaller. And then we've got some hooks up on the roof that they hook onto.
Easy as that.
So you can see the top's all hooked up. So
One other thing though that we'll mention here is that behind here is the window from the pop-top skirt.
We also have a vent up this side as well.
Yeah.
So people did say, you know, you probably should have an exhaust fan, and yeah, I agree. A little fan up here would have been good, but I couldn't really mount one because the solar panels are there, and
we actually didn't have any drama with the
moisture
ventilation.
Or ventilation. Yeah, we've used like bathroom ceiling paint that's like mold and mildew resistant.
Wow.
And we never had an issue because we're not sitting in here having like a 10-minute long hot steamy shower. It's a quick rinse off, you know, get wet, soap yourself up and rinse yourself off, and in that time it doesn't build up enough steam to cause any issues. I've never once had a drama. Anyways, we'll show you these press studs. So around the bottom of the shower we added these press studs, so they're just to keep the shower nice and tight. So just clip them in, and then at the back here. So you can see there, once it's pressed in at the bottom and hanging, it holds its shape really well. But as you can see, in a smaller van, this is why we chose to have a flexible shower space, because having this permanent the whole time, it does really take up a lot of room. So we love the fact that we can just unpack it, put it away, and we have our space back again. So
it really opens it up when it's down.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's multi-purpose, we have the day bed as well.
Which we use a lot. We love just sitting on there with a coffee. So yeah, so that's it set up. So we'll show you inside now and we'll turn it on and give you a bit of a demo. So Joe did sew on these for us so we can roll it back, which we probably will do actually, so you can see in there a bit better. So next thing is to hang up our shower head. So you can see down there, we mounted ours this way, so it just, when we're not using it, it's just resting in there like that. So basically we just pull it out of there, lift it up, and we Velcro it up the top here. So one thing we probably should have mentioned to Joe, which we didn't, so we probably should have specified where we wanted this Velcro. It's probably a little bit high. Down here would have been a bit better, but we make it work. We just have to do it a little bit differently. So we had to add a bit of Velcro to the shower head, and we just wrap it around like that and rest it sort of against the roof to get the good angle. So we'll turn the shower on now. So at the moment that's on hot. So the pump's running, it's so quiet you can barely hear it, and just wait for that water. It's already warm, so there's our hot shower. So
there's nothing better than having a hot shower on a wet, cold, rainy day, hey?
Yeah, and also people did say like, oh, why didn't you do just like a shower tent off the side of the van, like a shower awning or something? But on our previous lap, we had a double ensuite, like a pop-up shower tent, and which was awesome, but it wasn't so awesome on those nights where it was blowing a gale and we get up in the middle of the night, our shower tent's blown over, we'd have to pack it up, and then when it rained, we have to air it all out. And so we thought, no, that's where we wanted a shower inside, and we're so glad we did. Like on those windy days, yeah, we're out of the wind, and it's quick and easy. Set it up, have a shower, pack it down, and it's just so good. We really enjoyed having our shower in our van this time.
Nice and flexible.
All of these demos are run off our 12-volt water pump. However, when hooked up to mains, everything works just the same. We just turn the pump off.
So in this episode, you'll obviously see with the shower not being so brand new, and that's because we have done 6 months around Australia. So now you will see here, and we'll mention it a little bit more in the next episode when we do a walkthrough. So it's just more so like this here is the bitumen paint coming through.
So the lid opening and closing, obviously on those hot days it sticks, and then when we lift the lid up, it pulled a bit of the top coat off.
And when the shower is packed down,
you see it marked there a little bit
as well. So yeah, it's something that will happen over time. It's a bit of wear and tear, but yeah, we just thought we would acknowledge that as well.
Yeah.
So when it's time to pack it up, it's pretty simple, pretty quick. We just let this dry out, but we bought a little squeegee, so any water that's on the pop-up, we literally squeegee it off. Pretty quick and simple, it dries out, and then anything that's left in the base of the shower, we grab the squeegee and literally just squeegee it over the drain. It sounds like it's a lot of work, but it's actually not for having a nice hot shower.
That's it. And it also depends how level the van is. If the van sort of, depending on where you park it, sometimes the squeegee is handy because the water might run a sort of different direction to the drain if like you can't get it super level. So squeegee's handy just to push that last little bit of water down the drain. And before we pack it up, we always go over it with like a microfiber and make sure everything's dry. And we've never had an issue with mold in there either. So with the pump, because it is pressure activated, we do need a switch to turn it on. So I've wired up this switch. So once it's on and it's primed, whenever you open up a tap is when it'll kick in. So I'll demo that now. If I turn it on. So once it's primed, if you just open up a tap, it'll just turn on now. It's a really quiet pump. So if I just have that running there, it's super quiet. It's an awesome pump. I think that one there is 11.3 litres per minute. Seaflo, and it's got really good pressure as well. So yeah, really happy with that. So in the kitchen here, same thing, got our cold water, and then we've got our hot water as well. So the hot was good on the rainy days where we didn't really want to wash up outside. We could just sit our drying rack on there and just wash up in the van with hot water. Also, this is our little stop tap. We've taken our water ionizer inside now that we're set up in another rental. It sat here and it went into there, and then if we open that up, it also runs cold water into our K8, our water ionizer.
So just adding to that as well, having our water ionizer going around Australia meant that we had clean water everywhere we went. Always, like, drinking water was never a problem.
Never had to buy bottled water or anything like that. We always just, because our K8, our water ionizer obviously it filters the water and then produces your very healthy antioxidant rich water. We had no issues with drinking water.
Definitely up there with something that I would recommend.
And if you can't do that, then at least try and get some sort of good pre-filtration or some sort of water filtration, because as you know, or you might not know, water can be pretty bad around some places in Australia. And we didn't want to have to carry like 10 litre tubs of water everywhere we went and stock up on them, so yeah, it was really handy. So with our Top RG water flow meter, this is how we monitor how much water we have left. So although we have 140 litres, we've got two 70 litre tanks. We just set this to 70 litres because that way if we fill both of them up, and when that 70 litres runs out, we know we've still got another 70 litres. So basically when you use it, it counts backwards from 70. So as it's working, you'll see there, you can see the little water flow meter at the top. It tells you that there's water running through there. And then as you're losing water, you know how much you've got left. So it's worked pretty well. It's actually pretty accurate. So yeah, happy with that. So our drawbar tap works awesome. So handy for washing your hands or something outside, or washing your feet off, and yeah, really happy we put that in. Another thing I forgot to mention, with the hot water unit, we also kept the hot hose it came with in the shower head. So this here, and a couple times when we washed Louie and Darla, we just unplugged this hot hose here and just screwed in the hose it came with, and that way it still is getting, you know, pressured water from the pump, and we can just hose them off outside. Or if we want to have an outdoor shower, which we did a couple of times, off the awning, we just hung the shower head off that and had an outdoor shower. So we've still got both options there, and yeah, worked well. Well guys, that's a wrap. We're very sorry that this video took so long to get out. We've had a lot going on. We've finished our travels and we've relocated to the beautiful mid-north coast, so life's been busy sort of setting ourselves up again, and you know, getting back into work and all that sort of thing. So we finally found some time to finish off this plumbing video. We're sort of not sure what we're going to film next. I'd love to mount a grey water tank up to the van after our travels. It was one thing we actually bought before we left, but didn't get time to fit it, or sort of didn't get time but also weren't sure if we needed it. But after traveling, there's definitely one thing we're going to add it. We'll just open up a lot more spots on where we can camp. Also, we'd love to film a full walkthrough video of Sunny and just do a bit of a like
what we would change if we were to change anything, especially after living in Sunny for pretty much 5.5, almost 6 months.
Well, it's actually more, because before we got a rental, we're actually living in Sunny for nearly a month and a bit, over a month, until we could secure a rental. So in total, we've been in Sunny for about 7 months pretty much. And I must say, we are probably going to get the comments like, you know, I've been a plumber for 25 years and you did that completely wrong, or, you know, I've been a cabinet maker for X amount of years and, you know, you built your cabinetry all wrong. But at the end of the day, I'm not a Sparky, I'm not a plumber, I'm not a chippy, you know, I'm none of those things. We built this van in the driveway of our last rental with Azedo tools and XU1 tools and Craft-Right stuff from Bunnings.
Lots of YouTubing, lots of Google. But I know one thing, Joss is a handyman.
Oh.
So.
Not really.
You are a handyman.
Give anything a go. But in saying that, we took Sunny down some pretty rough roads on our travels. We took him to, like, you know, James Price Point, to Ningaloo, down some lots of corrugated roads and lots of tracks, you know, beaten tracks.
And when we'd get out of the car and we'd be like, oh my goodness,
praying,
you know, what's in the van, what's gone wrong? And then we walk in, dead set, he'd be just good
might
as
just
new.
be a few cushions that fell off, or, like, you know, nothing. Like, he held up so well, and we're very, very proud of what we've made. We literally did 24,000 Ks in total, 24,000 Ks, the full lap of Australia. So yeah, and close to 7 months traveling pretty much, and
with Louie and Darla as well, like having Louie and Darla in the van too. But we won't go too much into that now. Yeah,
we just wanted to pretty much say that, all the plumbing and this side of things, because this video is on the plumbing, we did that to the best of our knowledge and to the best of what we researched. So everything worked really well. The plumbing's probably one thing that we sort of surprised ourselves with. It works awesome. Like, we love the way the hot water unit works, and the shower and everything like that. So we've had no issues, haven't sprung any leaks with the plumbing. So yeah, happy days there. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Apologies again for getting it out to you so late, but stay tuned for our next episodes, whenever that may be. But
we do look forward to filming our walkthrough.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. That will be the next one, and then after that, we'll just see what happens.
But you can pop in the comments what you'd like to see from our page moving forward. But we just wanted to say a massive thank you for everyone who tuned in and supported us from the start through to now. So we really appreciate it. Anyways, guys, all the best. And if you have any questions, don't forget to pop them in the comments below.